Hello. Hey Nora, what's going on? Hello. Hey Emma. Nora, where are you from? Are you here in Indonesia? I'm just chilling at the mall. Nora, where are you from? Oh, Singapore. Oh, that's cool. Nice. I bought a new tripod for my phone. It's like a tripod slash selfie stick, and it's actually a really good one. Yeah, Singapore. I'll probably will never go there unless I need to fly there for like a visa run, because it's just so expensive. Doesn't make sense. Well, I guess you get what you pay for. I think that's true. How's my video? I'm on 4G, not Wi-Fi right now, so I want to know like if it's choppy, if you can hear me. It's choppy? Ah, that sucks. I'm sorry. I was on Facebook Live earlier, and people said it was pretty good. Hey Emma, where are you from? You guys have any questions? I can't stay too long because I'm on 4G and I only got, I think 20 gigs of data. Oh, you live in Bali. Do you live in Ubud? Please say no. I think people in Ubud are a little bit crazy. Canggu? Oh, that's a good spot. I was going to move to Canggu, but I found a really, really good apartment here in Kuta with a realtor that speaks very good English. So I felt very comfortable with her because I've been looking around. I had been looking around for like a month and a half of where I wanted to settle, and I was just staying in homestays and hotels and homestays and hotels, and I didn't. Some of them were nice, but they all had a really big problem. Like either my feet were getting bit by spiders like 3 times a night, but the bathroom was beautiful and the room was okay, or it's too humid. My MacBook didn't like it. That happened to me up in Ubud. I had to leave a place early because it was so humid just in that location that my MacBook stopped working, and I thought it had stopped working forever, and it freaked me out. So I left Ubud, I came back down to Kuta, and I found a very, very good apartment. And yeah, I don't think MacBooks fare well here when it gets humid, because the parts are so tightly integrated that I think any amount of humidity in the computer will completely stop it from working. I had to run a hairdryer on mine. And then I was staying at a really, really beautiful like Balinese family compound, but it was humid, it was raining, and there was a very large fountain right outside my room, and my laptop didn't like it, so I had to leave early. But I like my apartment. Check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. The sound? Ooh, I don't know. No, I don't have the i9 MacBook. I have a 2014 MacBook that I bought from someone used before I left San Diego. But I bought it used, but it was like new because it was an Asian guy that was like in his 20s, like 22. And his family bought him a MacBook Pro with the highest specs. 15-inch, not a 13-inch. I like a 15-inch because it has a video card, which is useful for editing video. It makes it a lot faster, like significantly faster. Anyways, he was a gamer, and he did not use it at all. And it was completely like new. It was a 2014 model, which was what I wanted. I didn't want a really, really new one because the new ones have keyboard issues, and then they also have some other issues that haven't been solved yet. So I wanted something with all of the ports. So I was looking for a 2014 model, but I found this was just too great of a deal to pass up for $1,100 US. And it wasn't stolen. It was totally registered to him. We transferred it to me at the Mac store. For $1,100, I got a i7 MacBook with. Now this is important. The battery cycle count was like 60 when I got it, which is like nothing because they're good for 1,000 cycles. So that was really good. It had a 4 GB video card, and it had a 512 GB SSD with 16 gigs of RAM for $1,100. And the screen. The 2014 and 2015 models had some screen issues, and Apple's replacing the screens for free if the screen starts to bubble, but mine hasn't started to bubble even at all. So I'm very, very lucky to have this MacBook. $1,100 for almost a new MacBook. Yeah, it's a 2014 model, but what I noticed, I used to work for an electronics firm in San Diego, and what they noticed, we had some flare camera equipment in our office, and what they found was the laptops that are very thin and tightly integrated, they don't have enough airflow. And what happens is the Intel chips, the CPUs, will thermally throttle themselves if they get too hot. So I wanted something a little bit older that was a little bit less thin for better airflow inside the unit, and that's exactly what I got. I couldn't be happier with my MacBook. I used to be a Windows Systems Administrator in San Diego, but I like MacBook better for personal use. It's not appropriate for use at scale in business. A lot of the people I used to work with, they are very immature technically, and they used to say, oh, I don't know why every business just doesn't use all Macs. We can't for compliance reasons, but for personal home use, Macs are where it's at. I wouldn't recommend anything else. Unless you're a gamer, then you have to have a PC. But if you're just, you want to get something that works very well, that's very power efficient, there's nothing better than a Mac. But I know Mac OS, I know Windows, and I know Linux enough to administer them in a professional environment. And every OS has its negatives and positives, but for personal use, Macs are where it's at. Does anyone have any questions for me? Like I said, I can't stay too long because I'm on 4G, but I'll stay another 10 minutes. Oh, when I render video, I can render 10 minutes of HD video in Apple ProRes format in like 6 minutes. So I know someone that I met at a nightclub here that has a very large YouTube channel, and they've encouraged me to get into YouTube more and more, so that's what I'm trying to do. And they have an Acer laptop, and Acer's actually a very good brand, but what they don't have is a dedicated video card, and they're like, oh, that video would have taken me like 25 minutes to render, and it takes me, because I have an actual quad core i7 because I got the 15-inch model, not a 13-inch. So I have 4 actual cores on an i7 Intel processor, and I have a dedicated video card for rendering. I kind of knew what I was doing when I was buying it. I knew that I would be editing video here eventually, and I would need it, so that's why I invested in it. I had before, you'll never guess, I had an HP ProBook on a huge docking station in my home office in San Diego, and it never moved, so I never really needed anything else. But it only had 8 gigs of RAM. It had an SSD that I put in it, but it worked fine as like a desktop laptop computer. But on the go, you definitely need a MacBook. Dude, I had this Acer laptop back in like 2008. It was one core. It was a Core Solo Intel processor. And this thing like ran Linux and ran 3D graphics like you wouldn't believe. I'm going to try to stay here for the full 6 months. I've been here for almost 3 months on Bali. I have a 6-month visa that I have to leave in December, like early December. I'm going to try to go to Chiang Mai, Thailand after. My monthly budget, I bring in about $1,200 a month passively, so that means I don't really have to do anything for that money. So I basically kind of just chill. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos about tutorials about how to do social media marketing. I think that's really important to learn these days. How, what cameras are best for YouTube. I just watch tutorial videos like all day. Let me see if I can bring up the comments again. What school would I recommend? I wouldn't recommend a school. Emma, if you want to work in a regulated industry, then definitely go to college. If your government pays for it and it's free, definitely go to college. But in America, it's all about profit these days for even colleges. So I don't recommend college unless you want to become a doctor, lawyer, accountant. But if you want to become an entrepreneur, I would really recommend just YouTube and Reddit. That's how I became what I am today, is YouTube and Reddit. When I don't know something, I like YouTube because 5 people can explain it to me 5 different ways. And if you have 5 people explaining the same thing to you, you're going to get a lot of good information that you wouldn't get from a book or from just a single teacher. And Emma, I haven't had any problems working in the industry I work in professionally, which is computer systems administration, cybersecurity, with 0 certifications and no college whatsoever, because of my experience, I can get into an interview. And if I can at least get into a technical interview, I always get the job. I'm actually using a Huawei phone, a Nova 2i, that I got for $250. And it's very, very, it was a very good deal. But like I say, Emma, I'm not going to say that college is not right for everyone. It just wasn't right for me. Because I'm 33 years old. So if you think back, like in 2003, when it was my time to go to college, they weren't teaching cybersecurity in college. They were teaching just computer science, general BS from people that haven't really worked recently in the industry. They weren't teaching anything about cloud. They weren't teaching anything about cybersecurity. So I skipped college. And what was funny is I was working at a firm, an electronics firm in San Diego, and the engineers that were $80,000 to $100,000 US in debt because of college, and that's just student loans. That's not even like credit card debt, okay? They were only making $20 an hour more than I was. $20 an hour more. I came out way ahead not going to college. But I'm not going to tell everyone not to go to college, but I think it's inappropriate for schools to try to push everyone to college. Because some people, I found out when I was 30 I had ADHD, and that's why I didn't like school. If I take Adderall, I can learn anything, anywhere. But without Adderall, it's hard for me to learn in a standardized institutional setting. But I'm going to say don't go into deep debt for college. Just don't. If you're in the US, join the military for 4 years. Like if I had kids, I'd push them into the military for 4 years. Because the military will pay not only for your college, but it'll pay for your living expenses while you're in college. Yeah, that is a low-end version of the Nova series. And the reason I got it was very specifically because it has dual cameras on the front and dual cameras on the back. So I can take like blurry selfies in the front or back, and it has a flash in the front and back as well. And it was only $250. I have a budget. I wanted to spend, 250 to 300 on a new phone. I had my iPhone 6S, which was adequate for a long time, and I just kind of wanted to upgrade to something else. And I picked this phone because it had dual cameras. Emma, I'd have to recommend, if you have a MacBook, get an iPhone. Because the one feature I really miss on this phone is AirDrop. I have to physically connect this phone to my laptop to actually get photos off of it and into Photoshop or Adobe Lightroom when I could just AirDrop them to my MacBook. So if you have Mac already, Emma, stay with the Apple ecosystem. But if you don't have a Mac, Huawei phones are not sold in the US, but well, they are sold in the US, but you kind of have to get them from like a gray market situation. But, Sony Xperia is very popular in Europe, from what I understand, and they're good phones. But Emma, I would find something that is a mid-range phone. I wouldn't go high-end, and I would get something with a very good screen that has higher than HD resolution, like higher than 1080 by 1920. This phone has a screen that has higher than HD resolution, and you want something with a very good camera. But the secret is not megapixels, in my opinion. Don't go for the camera phone that has the highest megapixel count, because I could have gotten an Oppo F7 for the same price or a little bit more. But what you want is something with an f-stop. Now, if you know anything about photography, f-stop is, you just have to Google it. I'm not going to really explain it. Just Google f-stop photography. You want something with the lowest f-stop, like 1.8, or this phone has a 2.5. So the camera will work very well in low light settings. Definitely do your research. I saw a YouTube video that someone made saying don't buy high-end phones anymore, because in my opinion, the iPhone X, I'm not going to pay $1,200 for a phone. I'm just not. And the thing is if people keep buying these $1,200 phones, Apple's just going to keep raising the prices. I kid you not. So, while I'm a huge Apple fan, I kind of am boycotting Apple's high-end phones because I don't want them to get into the bad behavior of overcharging consumers for their phones. And they're very good phones, they are, but I think there's a lot of competition with Huawei. Unfortunately, the app doesn't allow me to adjust the settings. I'm sorry. There's a lot of different lights in here. There's fluorescent, there's LED, and that might be confusing the camera. Yeah, Emma, I wouldn't suggest getting an iPhone X at all. Where are you from, Emma? Because your country, where you're from, I think your country really depends on what phone you should get. But if you're outside the US, Emma, I would definitely look into Huawei phones. You spell them Huawei. It's a very, very good phone. I would suggest to you, Emma, to go and check out or look at YouTube videos for the review for the Nova 3i. I've had very good luck with this phone. I've actually dropped it several times, and the screen hasn't cracked. And there's no scratches on the screen either. Yeah, it's a low-end phone. I wouldn't call it low-end. I wouldn't, because here in Indonesia, some of the phones that the Indonesians think are fancy are really low-end, but they're fancy to them. I would recommend. I would say that the Nova series is like mid-range. I wouldn't call this phone low-end at all. Nor, I guess, with Singapore dollars, and if you're rich, yes, this phone would be low end to you, but to the average consumer that is between 24 years old and 35, I wouldn't really call this a low-end phone. That's what all rich people say, Nor, that they are poor. But you live in Singapore, so you got more money than I do. So does anyone have any questions about being a digital nomad, or what it's like, or how I support myself? Oh, you can't really judge things on price. That's how marketing psychology works. A good example of that is rice cookers, right? I'm sure, Nor, you're familiar with rice cookers. There can be rice cookers that are, I've seen them over $1 million before, and I've seen them as low as 250,000. But all they do is heat up to a certain temperature, and then they turn off, and they keep the rice warm. So why the hell do you need a rice cooker that is like 600,000, 800,000 Indonesian rupiah, or even $1 million, when they all do the same thing? Yeah, some of them have timers on them, that's great. But I'm not going to leave a rice cooker plugged in while I leave my house. So I think it's just all marketing psychology. Yeah, I would recommend the Nova 3i. I really would. I mean, you can't really beat... Here's the thing is, the phones, even with 40 megapixel sensors, like with Nokia, and I think the new Sony might have a 40 megapixel camera, they're still cell phone cameras, okay? They don't have good lenses on them. The Oppo F7, it was either the Oppo F7 or this phone, and the Oppo F7 has significantly more megapixels, but it's gimmicky. It's gimmicky. Without good glass, and a good low f-stop for low light performance, megapixels don't matter. Especially when you upload to Instagram and all the phones, all the pictures are the same anyways. So I was really looking for a phone to take good selfies for Instagram, and I picked exactly the right phone for me. I would highly recommend it. Bye, Emma. Talk to you later. And what's interesting is I saw another YouTube video where someone did a comparison between like a 40 megapixel phone and a DSLR. And they said when you zoom in on the camera phone pictures, no matter what camera phone you got, the pixels are a little bit different than what you get on a DSLR. And they said if you're trying to do like professional photo editing, you definitely need a real camera. But if you're just taking selfies, then camera phones are fine. And taking a 40 megapixel selfie doesn't make sense to me. Good night, Nor. I'll talk to you later. Is anyone else here? Hello? Does anyone have any questions? I know there's 4 of you. They're on mute? Do I have to unmute? I don't have to unmute them, right? I don't think so. So I'm at Discovery Shopping Mall in Kuta right now. I just bought a selfie tripod. And usually the ones I've seen are garbage, but this one is really good. It's very stable. It can accept a cell phone or a camera because it has an actual tripod mount. It's metal, and it has a remote for selfies. And it has a little holder on it for the remote, so I don't lose the remote. And it's the same. It's the same connector for charging the remote than it is my cell phone, so I can run off my battery pack if I need to. But yeah, this little tripod is my jam. It was expensive, but it was well worth the money. Somebody say something. Is anyone else here? Yeah, tell them to get off mute. I'm willing to answer any questions you guys have. You just have to ask them. This mall is huge. These are not Oakleys. These are like $5 sunglasses I got from a vendor on the street. But they do have Oakley stores here in the malls, and it's not any cheaper than it is in Singapore or the US. Personally, I like to find shirts with no logos on them that are not name brand, but are like thin cotton with like earthy tone colors. And they're hard to find, but sometimes you find them and they're like super cheap because they're brandless. They're kind of like cheap quality. But I like those shirts way better than things that have big logos on it. I'm wearing a shirt like that now. This is like an athletic shirt, so if I sweat in it, it dries really quick. I like these athletic shirts because you don't need a lot of them. Plus, you can wash them in the shower or whatever. So they work really well. I have a lot of clothes I brought with me from the US, and I have a huge bag. And I'm gonna try to get that bag down into like a 48-liter backpack. And to do that, I'm gonna have to get rid of a lot of my clothes. And I'm gonna have to pick clothes that are the most effective and work in the widest variety of situations. And athletic shirts are that, I think. If you get a black one and a white one and a gray one, and then maybe a blue one, I definitely wouldn't suggest red or yellow or anything that stands out, but I would get like darker colored, like athletic shirts that if you sweat, they dry really quick and they don't fade. And like cotton, these shirts I've washed this like over 100 times. This shirt I've had it probably for 2 or 3 years, and it's the same as it was the day I bought it. And it's from Target in the US. It's not even like a name brand one. You know what? I do like Oakley sunglasses. I do like Oakley gas can sunglasses. Bye, Nor. It was nice seeing you again. Thanks for the video comments, by the way. Does anyone have any questions? If not, I'm gonna go. I'll stay another 3 minutes. If no one says anything or has any questions, then it's time for me to get out of here. You guys want to see what I have in my backpack? Let's see what I packed today. I have a portable flashlight that is like a pen. You can use this to defend yourself too. I have a metal pen as well. Now this thing, if I strike you in the face or the neck with this, it will hurt. It's metal, so it will not break. This is good to go after someone's eyeballs as well. What else do I have? It's basically like quick clot. So you pour it into a wound, like a gunshot wound, and it will stop the bleeding immediately. You don't really die from the bullet, you die from blood loss when you get shot. So if you can pour something into the wound, you have a lot better chance of surviving. What else do I have? I have a flash drive. I have a scratch protector for my sunglasses. I have a whistle. have an ID holder. Business cards. And a little bit of spare cash. Somebody say something. Any questions? What else do I have? This backpack is a really good backpack for traveling for electronics because it's a North Face Borealis, Borealis. It's expensive, but you only have to buy it once. And it has fleece-lined pockets in case you put something in the pocket that has an electronic screen. It won't scratch the screen. It's a really nice backpack. It's really well made. I've had it for about a year now. I'll probably buy another one. Probably a different color than black. I like black because when you're traveling, you don't always want to stand out in a lot of situations. So I try to always get like gray shirts, khaki shorts, and like a black backpack, like very general. How do you plan on living this nomadic life? Oh, how long? I would like to do it for a year and see where I can take it. If I'm successful, then I will just continue. I'm already kind of successful because I had a passive income of about $1,200 a month US before I even started. Plus, when I quit my job, I got a large payout from the company to not disclose their trade secrets. I had my paid time off. I had my final paycheck. So I'm faring pretty well. But I'd like to do it for a year. A opportunity came up to possibly interview for a large company in the U.S. I'm not going to say which one, but I was seriously thinking about taking it. At least go, interviewing, but because it's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But I decided that I don't want to cut this life short, so I can always do it later. So that's my plan. Is I'm gonna live this life as long as it keeps working for me, and I might get bored. I might want to go back to the U.S. I don't know. I'm excited for Thailand though. Indonesia's been great, but I'm excited for Thailand, which I'm gonna go in probably December, or maybe a little bit earlier. But I'm definitely gonna write out my 6-month visa here. I'm almost on my 3rd month of my 6-month visa. Actually, June, July, August, September. Yeah, so September will be, the end of September the middle of September will be my 4th month. So I'll have 2 more months after that. The short list, Thailand, definitely. Now, the Thai government, I think I can get a 1-year visa, multiple entry from them, because I have special circumstances. So I won't have to do visa runs every 6 months, or every 2 months, I'm sorry. Plus it's a multiple entry visa, and I can stay for a year. So if that works out, I might stay in Thailand for a year. You never know. But I'd like to go to Ukraine after Thailand, and then I'd like to go check out Colombia, specifically Medellin, Colombia, to see what that's like. I'm thinking about also Erbil, Iraq, and everyone thinks I'm crazy, but Erbil is controlled by the Kurds. It's northern Iraq. It's called Kurdistan. They don't have their own country, but it looks like they really have their act together up there. The Kurdish people in Iraq, from what I've seen and heard, they have a beautiful city. Not a lot of Americans probably go there, but it's safe for Americans to walk the street there. You know, ISIS is only 50 miles away from them, but they have their own army to repel ISIS attacks. I would feel very safe there if I went there, and I might. Who knows? It's actually I can get a flight there for like $600. But is it right for digital nomad? I don't know. But I would like to go visit there for a week or two, or maybe a couple weeks. So I might go to Thailand, I might go to Iraq, then I might come back to Thailand. I don't know. Any other questions? John, where'd you go? You are my only hope. Oh. You know what time I woke up today? 11:30 a.m. Then I stayed in bed till about 2. I went to Domino's. I actually took a grab bike, which is like a motorcycle taxi here that you order like an Uber. It was 41 cents to go from my house to Domino's, US, and it was 34 cents to go from Domino's to the mall. So I didn't even pay $1 for all of my rides today. Earning US dollars and spending them in Southeast Asia is like the best thing. I wish I had done this like years ago, because for quite a while I had a job that was completely affiliate marketing, and I made about $3,000 a month because I had a network of blogs. And when Google updated its algorithm to the Panda algorithm, it completely crashed my entire network. I wasn't doing anything like shady or anything with black hat SEO. Google just changed its algorithm, and then my sites were not as popular in the search engines, and it completely put me out of business. But I still made, about $1,000 a month, but I couldn't live off that anymore. I could live off $3,000 or $4,000. Some months I brought in $4,000. But that was back in like 2010, 2012, 2013 was my last good year. I wish I had done this a long time ago, to be honest with you. I'd be way ahead in life if I had. But I like a stupid, I stayed in the US, kept paying rent, kept wasting my money. I don't know why I didn't leave sooner. Does anyone have any other questions? If not, I'm going to sign off. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for everything, guys. Love you. Bye.